Hi there, this is Ben Anderson, and this video is being created to help people find some more information about this trip coming up with the CMS Travel Symphonic Band. We had a parent and student information meeting last night that went really well, and so if you were not able to make it, we're going to go over some of the same exact things. In order to save yourself time, you may want to go into the YouTube settings, which is the little gear in the bottom right corner, and choose a faster playback mode if you'd like to get through it a little bit quicker. I'll try to be as concise as possible. So anyway, welcome. Special thanks to Connie Ewing, our Student Activities Director. The directors this year are me and my wife, Tara. We're going to be directing the group. Gertie Sommerfeld this year is unable to come with us. She's going to be working on her master's degree and is taking the year off. So we're going to have that group as our leadership. About the group this year, the group is an optional activity. It's part of the co-curricular offerings we have here at CMS, just like any activity or sport. It's performance oriented. We have 4 concerts. We will begin rehearsals in January. We will have a couple initial bookkeeping rehearsals, choosing rooms, passing out music, getting everything settled, and just doing a lot of the talking in December, right before winter break. And then in January, we come back and hit it hard. Monday and Thursday morning, 6:45 to 7:40. Rehearsals do begin sharply at 6:45, so you want to get there early enough to set up your instrument and get warmed up. Most kids arrive before 6:40 so that they can have a little time and not be late, find their spot. So we're aware of burnout with other ensembles. Woodwind and brass ensembles pause, and they come back in the spring. Pep band is done. Jazz band has a reduced schedule, so we're quite aware that this is a big commitment. We want you to make sure that you're also taking it into account in your schedule, in your family agenda, and everything that you do throughout your world. So the travel dates, the big thing is the trip to Chicago, and that's March 6th through the 8th. On that day, we'll meet in the morning, drop off our luggage. We'll leave around noon. We'll get on the coach buses and we'll head out to Chicago. We're staying 2 nights in a hotel with double beds. We've got nice meals. We've got a nice college tour. We're going to go through all this stuff, but a great clinic, performance at the Field Museum. We will leave Sunday and come home in the late evening with all our homework done and totally exhausted. So we're also looking for some chaperones. We do have chaperones that come along. So if you're interested, let us know. The concert dates are all right here. We've got some documents available that have the entire list of all the dates on here, but these are the big ones. Monday, February 24th, we're doing a performance at Prior Lake Middle School with their honor band, their travel honor band, in their new facility. Should be awesome. We did this last year for the first time, and we hosted them. So we go down there, we'll have a clinic and rehearse with them, then we'll have a pizza party and put on a concert. So put that on your calendar. And then during the trip, we perform at the Field Museum after getting a clinic. So Saturday is the clinic, Sunday is the Field Museum performance. And then we have a welcome home concert. It's actually not in the multi-purpose room, it's in the gym, and that'll be March 13th. And then we come, the next Monday, we go to the high school and have a joint concert with the 6th grade honor band and the high school wind ensemble. Here's the itinerary. I'll blast through it as fast as I can. We pack light. We have a very specific packing list, including your concert dress, some nice clothes, some comfortable clothes, and some travel clothes for on the bus. We travel in style. We've got Wi-Fi and movies and outlets for all your devices. We will have some homework hours. We will have some movie hours, and we'll have some relax hours. Do whatever you want. So there's plenty of time on the way out there to have a couple hours to do homework and collaborate on that stuff. We do stop in Madison at a food court for some afternoon dinner, and then when we get there, we go to the tallest building, the Willis Tower, I should say. The Willis Tower, we've got the tilt experience where you lean out over the building. You actually put your hands on the glass and the whole wall starts to tip out. It's pretty cool. You don't have to do that, obviously, but that's covered. And then it's time for bed in your room, and good night. Then we get up in the morning. We have really good special breakfast buffet for us in a banquet room. We're going to be clinicking that morning with Professor Ferris. He's an amazing director, and he's a great clinician. He's been working with us. This will be the 3rd time. And he's just really, really fun to work with. We're going to learn a lot. That's one of the main things with this group. So not just to meet friends and not just to travel, but also to get better as a musician. He's going to help us with our performance, with our skills, get everything brushed up, our kind of last chance before we do the performances. We'll take a tour of Northwestern. We'll go through a walking tour outside. They have amazing tradition and amazing architecture. For example, the old versus the new. That's the music building on the right. I can only imagine going to school there and having a chance to perform and practice in that building every day. I don't think I would ever leave, overlooking Lake Michigan there. So that's the Beanon School of Music building. Then we'll head off and take a tour of Wrigley Field or Lincoln Park. It just depends on the construction at Wrigley Field. We will find out in January if that's going to be available. We took the tour ourselves a couple weeks ago, and it's a fantastic tour. You get to go on the field. You get to see the ivy there that's been there like 100 years. You get to go in the dugout, in the locker room. You get to see some really great parts of it. Blue Man Group is in the afternoon on Saturday. They are just weird blue people that play instruments and do strange things with strange liquids and marshmallows and toilet paper and fun kid stuff. It's quite a jam. They've got, as you can see, a band in the back there playing along, and then they're jamming on all these instruments. And we will be in the first 10 rows called the Splash Zone, so it'll be a lot of fun. Really interactive. They really interact with the crowd quite a bit, so it's a lot of fun. And you'll get a chance to meet them afterwards. They don't talk. They just kind of stare at you funny. So it's a pretty interesting experience. And then we're off to Gino's East, deep dish Chicago-style pizza. It's a huge place, and there's tons of room to write your name. So we'll bring markers, and you can sign your name on there and be part of history. It's great deep dish pizza, but they also have these really straight out of the oven brownies that we will devour. Hopefully there'll be some left. As we head back, we'll take a look at the skyline and head to the pool. We're going to have some pool time, and we're going to have a banquet room available for movies and maybe some of those brownies left over if we can. And then it'll be off to bed. After a group meeting, we'll head off to bed, get a good night's sleep, because in the morning we'll have breakfast, and it's off to the Field Museum, which is a big performance for the public. It's really an amazing experience when people show up just because they've heard of Eden Prairie bands before and they saw that we were playing and they come to the Field Museum. It's a really great time. And it's very different than playing for your parents. There's a little bit more pressure. We do a little bit more preparation and get ready for really trying to wow strangers, which is a whole new thing. And it's one of the great things about being a performer. So after we perform, you get to visit the museum and take some time to explore all the things that they have there. We're going to have a box lunch together to save time. All the cafeterias in the museum, there are many, and they're usually full of other people. So we're going to try to streamline it and give you more time at the actual museum. Then we get in the buses, head over to Millennium Park, where we can take some pictures of the bean, take some selfies, look at all the big, huge, interactive public sculptures in the sculpture garden, take a group picture, and just kind of enjoy our last moments in Chicago looking at Michigan Avenue and the skyline and Lake Michigan. So then we get back in the buses, finish up our last bit of homework, celebrate and relax. Relax on our way home from this awesome experience. Another stop at a food court to refuel, and we're back home. So some more details. This costs a little bit. It's about $500. Fundraisers are crucial here. We will be all together, not wandering around the city. There's almost no downtime except the built-in downtime at the hotel Saturday night, about an hour and a half, an hour to an hour and a half of swimming and hanging out with your friends. Homework on the bus. Sometimes we do homework better together. We can always just put in our headphones and ignore other people and get some things done. But we're going to really make sure that nobody comes back on Sunday night stressed out because they're tired and have a lot of homework to do. So not much spending money is needed. A couple of those food court stops, and any money you want for souvenirs. There's always going to be souvenirs available at every event that we go to. So That's up to you. Registration process is to submit first a student activities registration form. We're going to ask that you at least start by doing that manually on paper. We know that the fee pay system is available, but we're going to do a piece of paper version because on the back side there's a commitment list. So that's where all the concert commitments happen, the rehearsal commitments, and then where people can request scholarships or donate or ask to be a chaperone. So you want to check that out. The roster will be made available after we get all those in on November 8th. So turn everything in by November 5th, and we should be good to make a roster by November 8th and pass out all the fundraising forms. We might be able to get that done early. My goal is November 7th, so maybe we'll put that on there. There might be a waiting list. We will take into account several factors, one of which is if you've participated in the past in our ensembles at CMS. Another one might be instrumentation. So we have to take a look at who registers. There's not a lot that we can do to predict that. So far in the past, everything has gone great. There hasn't been a big problem. There haven't been many on the waiting list. So my suggestion is just get everything on time so you're not at risk of anything when it comes to that. But then we'll begin fundraising. All the important documents will be available on a Dropbox folder online that will be available on Friday and will be sent out to anybody registering next week. There's a band group app that we use to communicate during the trip and probably during the Prior Lake trip too, and that will be a social media app that parents and students and chaperones will all be on, where we can share photos, we can ask questions, parents can chime in about what they're seeing and hearing. Most importantly though, the announcements come out about where to be when. So hey guys, pizza's ready, meet down in the cafeteria. That message is going to be sent out on the group app called Band. So it's going to be important to either have a cell phone or stick around your friends, possibly your roommates, to make sure you get the announcements. So we'll gradually make a system that works with that. Most students have a cell phone. It does work on the iPad sometimes, although some of the social media blockers on our school network make things a little tricky. But we will communicate using that. We'll be sending updates all weekend long so parents know what we're up to and can find out exactly where we are when we're on the road. We'll have a virtual map of where we are. So check that out. You can start getting that now. You can get that app. We'll send you the group that you sign up for later once we have the roster established. So here are some dates for payments. We'll start with first that $20 student activities fee, and then comes the Gateway payments. The Gateway Travel Company has been doing our travel arrangements. This will be the 5th year. They're fantastic. They use them at the high school as well. So these are the payments, $100, and then they will split the rest of the costs up. At this point, we are balancing. It depends on the roster, the number of people that sign up, but it's going to be somewhere between about $480 up to about $516. So that's the window that we're working on still. And the final payment due by January 21st. If you make a payment that's too much, you will be reimbursed. We do have a great fundraising system through Club's Choice. I really highly recommend that you take advantage of this. Most kids do. Some kids pay for everything. Get your customers interested in the highest selling items. There's also ways to do this online and do text payments that were talked about last night. And that's all included on the sheet and the packet that you'll get when you sign up. There's lots of good stuff, ooey gooey goodness. My favorite here is the breakfast pizza. So if you ever have a sleepover, you go camping or hunting or have an overnight, you don't feel like making a big breakfast and making a big mess, just turn on the oven and throw those in. And you can feed everybody. The fundraiser starts next week, once we have everybody's in the roster. Money's due, you can read all this stuff, but basically we're going to be raising funds for our trip. On the trip, we have high expectations. We want to make sure everyone's doing well in classes, planning ahead with homework. The tour is designed as part of our academic life here. The tour of the college is all part of it, and we want to make sure we're planning ahead on everything, including sleep. And that's part of our whole legacy here: unity, artistry, excellence, and legacy. That's all we have. If you have questions, please feel free to email me. Thanks.